हैं और जाते
And these are live images that we get to you from Delhi's Nigambod Ghat. Thousands of people have come for the cremation, for the last rites of Constable Subhash Tomar. He was posted at the Karaval Nagar police station. He was on law and order duty at India Gate, where he and the mob clashed. He's said to have died of a heart attack when the mob and the police were in that engagement. 8 people have been booked. The Civil Aviation Minister, you see in those visuals, you also see Delhi Chief Minister Sheila Dikshit, Ajit Singh, MOS, Home, RPN Singh also seen in those pictures. The entire Delhi Police top brass, Police Commissioner Neeraj Kumar downwards at this cremation. The Delhi Police had earlier announced that Constable Subhash Tomar would be cremated with full state honours. The Delhi Police described his unfortunate death as very unfortunate. They also said that it was improper for the mob to have attacked a police officer on duty. 8 people have been booked for this. They said, though by and large the protesters were peaceful, there were elements who had been brought in to this mob to specially target the police. A Doordarshan vehicle was also damaged. Several barricades were broken. Home Minister Sushil Kumar Shinde said the mob was trying to go all the way up to Rashtrapati Bhavan. They were trying to attack Rashtrapati Bhavan, and that could not have been permitted at any cost. And it is with full state honours that the mortal remains of Constable Subhash Tomar will be consigned to flames at Delhi's Nigambod Ghat crematorium. Delhi Chief Minister Sheila Dikshit seen in these pictures. RPN Singh, MOS Home, the Union Home Secretary RK Singh also at Nigambod Ghat for this cremation. He was reportedly trampled by the mob, suffered a heart attack and died. These are images of a funeral with full state honours. Several uncomfortable questions to be answered at this stage. Arvind Kejriwal of the Aam Aadmi Party in the eye of a storm. His Aam Aadmi Party accused of inciting the mob. A case has also been filed against former Chief of Army Staff General VK Singh and Yog Guru Baba Ramdev for inciting the mob. But Arvind Kejriwal just a short while back was trying to pick holes in the police case in the killing of Constable Subhash Tomar. Arvind Kejriwal says whoever is responsible for this should be brought to book. The strictest possible action needs to be taken against them. But the 8 people who've been booked for this, according to him, were in no way responsible. They were picked up from different locations and charged. Arvind Kejriwal and Manish Sisodia of the Aam Aadmi Party insisting that there is no evidence against the 8 who have been booked. They also denied that they are Aam Aadmi Party members. Manish Sisodia also denying that he had furnished the bail of those 8. Headlines today's Jugal Purohit now joins me for more. Jugal, the entire Delhi police top brass, the Chief Minister Sheila Dikshit, also Ministry of Home Affairs officers at the funeral. Jugal, is there anger in the police force? Do the police force feel that they've been unfairly targeted in this entire matter? We'll get to Jugal Purohit in just a moment. Family members, friends, relatives of Constable Tomar at Nigambodh Ghat at the place of the funeral. It is with full state honours that Constable Subhash Tomar would be consigned to flames, would be given his last rites. The Delhi police saying those who are responsible for this murder, as they put it, will not be spared. Senior officers of the Ministry of Home Affairs also present for the funeral. Jugal, how are the police reacting to this incident and to the death of their Constable Subhash Tomar?
Well, Gaurav, at the Nigambodh Ghat here where we are present right now, the entire top brass of the Delhi police is here, and so are 7 top officials from the Ministry of Home Affairs, including the Union Home Secretary, the Minister for Civil Aviation Ajit Singh, and the Minister of State for Home RPN Singh. All of them are present here. The Delhi police obviously has not spoken to the media as such, but the kind of information that we've been getting from the Delhi police is the fact that this is an officer who died because of the brutality of the protesting mob the other day on Sunday, 23rd of December. And the police says that his death is perhaps an example of the kind of peril that the Delhi police was facing, and that is being used now as a justification for the kind of fury that we saw from Delhi police's side on protesters, including those who were not protesting, as well as the media. So his is a death in which the Delhi police wants to make an example of the kind of protest it had faced. But also we are aware that there is a section of the protesters who are not violent as the Delhi police has been trying to paint. But at least for now, Constable Subhash Tomar's cremation has been initiated. His family obviously bereaved his children. We saw them here at the cremation area, extremely emotional. Entire relatives, also set of relatives, are also arrived here at the cremation grounds. It's a very, very emotional scene out here, Gaurav, as I'm seeing in front of me. And within the next 20 to 30 minutes, his fire also will be lit. So that is what is happening right now. The Delhi Police top brass, as well as the Ministry of Home Affairs, which is the ultimate authority for reporting for the Delhi Police, are present in full numbers to bid their final farewell.
All right, so tragic outcome of the protest, the violent protest that we witnessed in the heart of the national capital at India Gate. Delhi Constable Subhash Tomar breathed his last after he was critically injured during those violent protests at India Gate. There you can see the last rites that are going to be performed shortly. A funeral with full state honours for Delhi Police Constable Subhash Tomar, who passed away this morning at Delhi's Ram Manohar Lohia Hospital. Well, questions have been being raised over who were the people behind this deadly attack on a policeman, on an officer in uniform. Arvind Kejriwal's Aam Aadmi Party has been under scrutiny as reports emerged after DCP Delhi confirmed that Manish Sisodia of Kejriwal's party had secured bail of the 8 accused of injuring Constable Tomar. My colleague Jugal Purohit is with us on the phone line right now. Jugal, just bring to us the sentiment that is on the ground. The police force feeling let down by what really had happened and how they were in fact caught in the middle of this tug of war that's currently being fought between the powers that be, the administration, their top bosses. They've lost one of their men.
Absolutely correct, Ruchika. In fact, the police force which has turned out here in full numbers, we are seeing the top brass of the Delhi police led by the Commissioner, Mr. Neeraj Kumar himself. Apart from that, also several senior officials from the Ministry of Home Affairs, again led by the Minister of State for Homes, RPN Singh, and the Union Home Secretary. We also saw the Minister for Civil Aviation, Mr. Ajit Singh, arriving here, surprising everybody. And there were several other key officials of the Home and the Police Department which were already here. It was an extremely emotional ceremony, Rochega, where we saw the entire family of the slain constable turning up. In fact, one of the most poignant scenes was when the wife of the constable got to see the body of her late husband, which is when she broke down. She was flanked by her 3 children and several other women and other relatives. It was an extremely emotional ceremony. As we now speak, his funeral is being lit, his fire is being lit, and there are still several of the police department colleagues of his who are still there, and the commissioner and the top brass are continuing to be at the Nigambod Ghat, but the Home Department officials, along with the Delhi Chief Minister Sheila Dikshit, they have already departed from the area. We are aware that this death has caused a lot of anger and resentment among the police force, which has been saying that ever since the protests broke out, they were using minimal force and they were in fact restraining themselves from going strong or going harsh on the protesters. And yet, this is what they've said, that the situation we've had is that one of our own men has had to succumb to injuries which he got as a result of doing his duty. So this is an extremely emotional moment, not just for the family, but even the police force, which, as we saw today, the Joint Commissioner coming out in the open saying, has lost a very brave soldier.
Just stay on with us, Jugal, because at the same time, we are awaiting the post-mortem report that is likely to be out by 6 p.m. today, as you've been reporting. Let me quickly go across to senior criminal lawyer Mr. Majid Memon, who joins us on the phone line. Mr. Memon, I'd like to bring up some facts, some of the statements that have come earlier from Arvind Kejriwal. Remember, his Aam Aadmi Party has come under scrutiny over the constable's death. Now, Arvind Kejriwal, while clarifying his party's position on the violence that took place on Sunday at India Gate, he said that there were 8 people who were booked for attempt to murder by the Delhi police, and they were granted bail yesterday by a Delhi court. He said in a case like this, where an attempt to murder charge is slapped against people, it's very, very difficult to secure bail. The very fact that the evidence, the judge was not convinced by the evidence or the facts that were raised by the police during the course of that bail plea hearing goes to show that Delhi police has a very weak case against those 8 people suspected of injuring this constable.
You see, let us understand that it's first we must condemn the act on the part of those who are responsible for the death of this constable Tomar, who has died in discharge of his duty. Now, it is Kejriwal's plea or anybody now coming forward to justify, you see, is something, adding insult to injury. Let us understand that one thing which needs to be found out by impartial investigation by the policemen, well, not because that they have lost one of their men, but they should find out the truth. If the attack on Tomar was accidental, then probably the law will have a different course. But if the attack was deliberate by some miscreants, then certainly the gravity becomes much higher. Now, it would be necessary for the policemen who would investigate this crime, which is now registered, the FIR is there, 8 people are booked, that if there is evidence of, say, video recorded evidence or some eyewitness account which would be suggestive of the fact that anyone from among the protesters was deliberate in attacking this constable who was only discharging his lawful duties, in that event probably the case becomes very serious and even an offence of 302 may be sustainable at this juncture. And if an offence of 302 is made out at this juncture prima facie, I am afraid that even if they have been bailed out or they have been ordered to be released on this alteration of section would result in their being taken in custody over again for the purpose of further investigation and collecting further evidence.
Right. So, Mr. Memon, in your opinion, do you think Delhi police can move court now seeking cancellation of the bail of the 8 people who were earlier arrested? Because they were just granted bail yesterday and they were apparently booked for attempt to murder. The Delhi police is even contemplating a case of murder against these 8 people.
That's right. The law does provide, this opportunity to the police to approach the honored magistrate and with an altered charge, which has now become a graver offence, because 302 certainly entails into the punishment of death or imprisonment of life. This is a case of rioting where, of course, at a later stage, the accused take up the plea that, well, it was never intentional or it was never within the knowledge of the offenders or the accused that they caused death. But then that would be a different story altogether. You see, what we must understand is that unfortunately, the protesters, although enjoyed the sympathies of all good, right-thinking people, because the cause was good. They wanted to see that justice must be done to that girl, unfortunate girl. But then they should not get so excited and panicky that they would take law in their own hands and turn violent. And then, cause this kind of an ugly turn to the whole, story, which was in a different direction. Now, everything is now, all floodlights would turn to the sympathies toward this constable who has laid down his life while discharge of his lawful duty, which is as good as martyrdom. And I'm afraid, I don't know what is Delhi government going to do. The eldest child out of the 3 children that Tomar has, in my humble opinion, the eldest child must be immediately put into constabulary or an equivalent job, and the bereaved widow must be, without hassle, immediately given some ex gratia payment of about, in my assessment, about 20 lakhs of their house. So that at least some kind of solace to, the constables on duty who lose their life. And it is very sad. And I think the politicians like, new politicians like Kejriwal, etc., must also understand that this is not the time to find fault with the police or justify, the act of the Aam Aadmi members, etc., etc. This is the time when we all should keep our cool. We must make sure that peace prevails at all costs. And of course, the law must take its own course, both in the case of the victim of the rape as also the victim family of the police constable.
Well, well put, Mr. Memon. Thank you very much for joining us. Not a time to score brownie points, not a time to come out with to air the difference of opinion. It's actually a time to introspect, even for all those protesters who had hit the streets earlier demanding justice. Today, Constable Subhash Tomar's family is also demanding justice. They're also asking, would anybody fight for them? Would anybody come out in the streets to support them? We are awaiting post-mortem report. The details that will come out will actually tell the story, what exactly happened, the circumstances that led to his death. For the time being, a funeral with full state honors for Constable Subhash Tomar, who died in the line of duty. Political affiliations apart, reactions too have been coming in. We will, in fact, get you those reactions in just a bit. But let's bring you this report that our correspondent Jugal Purohit just sent us from Nigambodh Ghat, the Delhi police in deep clue.
It was an emotionally charged cremation for the late Constable Subhash Tomar, which was attended not just by the top brass of Delhi police, but but also by several ministers, top officials, as well as the Union Home Secretary. The constable who died defending the orders of the police on the 23rd of December will now be cremated with full state honors here at the Nigambod Ghat. With Hemant, this is Jugal Purohit reporting for Headlines Today.
All right, so that was the report sent by Jugal just moments ago. Ramanohar Lohia Hospital is where the doctors were attending to Constable Subhash Tomar for last 2 days. We are in fact awaiting a word right now, the post-mortem report that is set to be out. There you can see police force, the top bosses in full attendance at Constable Tomar's funeral. All right, my colleague Aditi Anantanarayan is now joining us from Jantar Mantar, where we saw peaceful protests resume again yesterday after the violent clashes that we saw on Sunday. Aditi, it is perhaps a solemn moment for these protesters as well, because Subhash Tomar, Constable Subhash Tomar, isn't anybody's enemy. He was a constable who was doing his duty. He died doing his duty. I want you to speak to some of the protesters there and get a sense of what do they really feel right now as his body is being laid to rest with full state honors.
Now, Ruchika, I'll directly go to two protesters who are there with me. Sir, a constable has lost his life because of the violent protest that took place on Saturday and Sunday. So, do you think somebody will come out on the streets to to support his death? Will he get justice?
We are here itself for him also. Like, I had sent messages to some news channels. I had been here in this protest since Saturday itself. So we are with their families. We are also, very pain we got that because untimely deaths took place, and not because of the protesters and not because of this movement or for this cause. Basically, some anti-social elements have already decided on Saturday night that this is the way they are going to take place on Saturday or on Sunday, because being an off day. So everybody would like to, have political scores on this particular, cause. And I personally wanted to go to the Nigambod Ghat where the cremation I think took place, and I personally wanted to go to their family to give my condolences, not from my side but from each one of us from here.
And the protest took a very ugly turn on Sunday, and a constable has lost his life. He was just, doing his duty. What's your take on it? Do you think there was something wrong there? What was the lapse out there?
Well, first of all, we, as my friend said, we do feel the pain for the person, the constable who has died protecting people. But at the same time, I'd like to make a point here that, the protesters here, the students, the youth of the country, we are not responsible for the death of the constable, especially because if you see the way the situation unfolded there were some violent protesters who just joined in the protest. Why in the first place were they allowed amidst so much of security to enter the India Gate premises with lathis in their hands? That itself shows that this was not just a violent protest, but an organized provocation, maybe sponsored, maybe motivated by some political parties, because the youth of the country that is sitting here protesting, we're doing it very, very peacefully, and they are not responsible for this kind of for such mishappenings or this mishappening that has happened. But yes, whatever has happened is sad. And we do feel that pain, because at the end of the day, it is compassion that has brought us all together, fighting for injustice, whether it is for that innocent girl or for a police constable. But I would still like to make a point that the youth, the people protesting for a cause, are not responsible for it. This was a politically motivated provocation, and the government itself had to pay for it in the end.
So clearly, Ruchika, there have been two sets of people, one who are demanding justice for a good cause, and then there was a section of people who were the violent section there. And I think, even the protesters here feel that what happened there was not correct. And even today, protesters have been appealing to everybody that they should not get motivated by any political parties that are coming here, and they should maintain and they should continue to do a peaceful protest and avoid getting into any kind of violent altercations. Ruchika.
Absolutely, and to really know the final word, what exactly happened, what exactly was the cause of death of Constable Subhash Tomar, we'd have to wait till the time post-mortem report comes out. We are expecting that it will be officially out at 6 this evening. There should be no speculation over what really killed Constable Subhash Tomar, but there are facts that we have in fact put out, the facts that he was posted there at India Gate. He was doing his duty and he collapsed and he was taken to hospital. There are various versions that have come in, including that he was assaulted, he was trampled over, but these are all reported versions. We'd have to wait for the post-mortem report to be out to finally know conclusively what exactly happened, what led to his death. But at the same time, this is a poignant moment, this is a solemn moment for everybody to introspect. These are, of course, live pictures that we are bringing to you now from Nigam Bodh Ghat. Top police officers there at the cremation site where Constable Subhash Tomar will be laid to rest. Delhi Police Constable Subhash Tomar suffered serious injuries as were reported. We are awaiting the post-mortem report to find out what exactly led to his death. A funeral with full state honours for a Delhi police constable who was on duty and was injured, suffered a heart attack as has been reported. He passed away this morning at Delhi's Ram Manohar Lohia Hospital.